Salam. So let's talk about experiences in the darkness. So I mentioned that in our prophetic tradition, the broader prophetic tradition, and within the Mohammedan expression, caves and cave-like conditions are very important to the deeper levels of spiritual practice. Now, in the Buddhist tradition, you see a continuation in some respects of the ancient shamanic tradition, which is also within the prophetic tradition. They even call monks shramanas. So it's, some scholars have said that it's related to the word shaman. And the prophetic tradition has been associated with the shamanic tradition as well. I agree with this assessment. And there's always a path to awakening, to enlightenment. And, I've met people and had interesting conversations about experiences in the darkness. I've talked to people who practice Vipassana who have done 10-day Vipassana retreats in caves in Southeast Asia. I talked to a young man who was really into holistic living, and really interesting discussions. And he would tell me about, one time he told me about this experience he had where at one point he had done the drug DMT, and he'd had some very powerful experiences. Now, this is a synthesized form of this. This wasn't the natural form like ayahuasca, but he had done one of these 10-day retreats in a cave in Southeast Asia. And he said during the retreat, he actually had the same taste of liquid ambrosia in the back of his throat that had been released during the crystalline experience with the substance. He had the exact same experience by sitting for 10 days in the cave in darkness, and not using lights whatsoever. So when you stay a long time in darkness, interesting things happen. So DMT is all around us in our world, and our bodies are chemical factories. And when we are in a pure and ethical state, our frequencies are balanced and in harmony with the world around us and within us. We're free of toxins, and in this state, then naturally the body goes through cycles and releases certain chemicals naturally. So especially if you're doing a lot of salah, standing, bowing, prostrating, sitting. Prostration, sajda, is very critical in this process. So, I wanted to just tell you about these, these 10-day retreats in darkness can have some interesting experiences, and it was connected to this substance release, and it changed his life. He took a whole different course after that. And I would argue that our ancient ancestors were going into the caves and having these visionary experiences, and that's why we see these beautiful paintings in the heart of caves, really, really deep into the recesses of the earth, the womb of the earth, so to speak, because we are clay beings. We are made of clay and water, of earth and water. And there's much that we can learn in the darkness. It's interesting that we sometimes become illuminated in the darkness. Not long ago, I completed my own dark days. That actually brought me out of my long dark night of the soul and into the next stage of my life. I'd been in a long dark night of the soul arguably since I was 13 years old, perhaps since much earlier than that, from many, many traumas and difficulties and soul searching and seeking of truth. And Allah, pulling the rug from out underneath me and smashing all the idols that I'd created of people, places, and things in order to bring me into reality. And I had to go through some difficulties. So, not long ago, last year, Allah brought me into a really powerful tawba experience that really, really was life-shattering and life-altering. And I'd been making tawba, thousands and thousands of times. I thought I was making tawba. I thought I was always repenting. But this was something else. This was different. And then Allah brought me into deep levels of prayer practice. And then He took me out of the states. He showed me the danger that I was in, and it was deep danger. So thankfully He saved me. And I didn't know He was going to bring me to ancient Anatolia. So He brought me here. And I wound up going on a really, really powerful, so I didn't realize I was making hijrah. And so first I made hijrah of the heart, and then I made physical hijrah. And that's still an ongoing process. And when I came here, I went on ziyarat. I went and visited. I didn't know that so many prophets and walis, peace be upon them and may Allah be pleased with them, had lived and even died and spent time here in Anatolia in ancient times. I didn't know that Sham, extended all the way up here into Turkey, into Anatolia, Balad Sham. So it's like, it blew my mind. And then I was having these powerful experiences as I was visiting these walis, the places of the walis and the prophets, and remembering their stories, contemplating the lessons that were, personalized, in order to get the message clear. And then after that, then it was Ramadan. I went really deep into Ramadan and had some powerful experiences. And then I wound up doing I had a little apartment, and I wound up doing a 3-day dark retreat that was dry fasting, which was really intense. And then I took a few days after that to process what I had been shown. And then I did a 10-day retreat in the darkness, completely, simulating cave-like conditions, I was wrapped like a kung fu trainee, blindfolds and hats and shirts over the head. All the windows were blocked off, all the sunlight blocked out. And it was during times of solar flares. So some wild things were happening. This was very powerful. My whole point is, brothers and sisters, that, and also notice that Isa alayhi salam, he says when you pray, go into a closet. So what's he suggesting? Go into the darkness. Spend time in the darkness. Prayer is not to show off for other people. Prayer is for you to draw near to the truth, to our Lord, the wise and compassionate guide, Most High, the protector, the healer, the Lord of all worlds, the master of all universes, the creator, the source of creation, the annihilator, he who possesses all of the beautiful names. So some of these lessons you will learn when you go into the darkness. We need to take a rapid path of enlightenment. And it seems paradoxical that you might go into the deepest darkness in order to receive illumination. That word illumination, do not associate with the Illuminati. They have stolen so many words and symbols and names. They don't belong to them. You shall know them by their fruits. You will know somebody is upright and righteous not by what they're saying. There are many corrupt people that they're reciting prayers off their lips and off their tongue all the time, but they have dirty hearts and they mislead the people. May we be protected from them, and may they be stripped of all power so that they're stripped of that ability to sin against themselves and others anymore. So anyway, caves are such an amazing place to contemplate the beauty of and the depth of who we are. So go deep. Push your roots deeper into your clay. Learn who you are. Learn your ancestral lines in the most authentic way. You will learn so much if you sincerely seek. So go through, we're going to discuss tawba and tazkiya on some deeper practical levels, because we are practical problem solvers and we think holistically. So, brothers and sisters, you are so loved and appreciated. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is your brother Ilyasin, and we are the Deep Roots Movement.